Hello everybody, hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Let me just dim this light slightly. Yeah, how's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's having a nice day. So today we are going to do some 3D scanning and then cleaning it up in Blender, and also testing out instant meshes, which is basically a free tool that you can use to retopologize your meshes inside of any 3D software basically. So today we're going to use Blender with instant meshes, and yeah, we're going to see how that goes. So I've got some, did 3 3D scans today that we're going to try out and see how that goes and see how it works. So let's jump straight into Blender and see what we're gonna do. So first of all, I'm just gonna delete all these things, and then we can bring in one of our first meshes and see. So I am just gonna import the OBJ. So let me just give you guys a quick overview of the software that I use to scan with. So I'm using a tool on my iPhone called Trinio, T-R-N-I-O, and the cool thing is it's not a free app, and it's not like sponsored by them or anything. I actually tested out quite a few different apps, and I find this one to kind of work the best. And it's a once-off payment, which is nice. So you just buy it once. I think it's like $5, and then you can use it basically as much as you want. You can scan as many 3D models as you want, so you've got unlimited models that you can scan and convert into 3D models, which is quite nice. So most of the apps are not free. Like most of the apps that I found has got like a subscription model, so you have to pay monthly. But yeah, Trinio is a once-off payment, and yeah, it's just nice, which is very nice. So I'm just going to open up my first 3D scan. I think we're going to start with the easiest one first and see how it goes. So the first one is literally a rock. So I just scanned a rock. And what I usually do first is I kind of just orient it. So I'm going to check from the side and just rotate it around, and then just kind of move it into position like that, and kind of just move it over like that. And we can maybe just shift it over. So I'm just kind of just rotating and just kind of getting it onto the grid. So we'll probably have to close it up at the bottom, but I'll just do this for now. Okay, so that's our rock, and then I'm just gonna set the origin to the geometry, just like that. So we've got our mesh, and if I go to material preview, you will see that we have the materials as well. So this app actually applies, or it scans the model as well as the texture, which is pretty cool. So if I enable my statistics, you will see that this model has got 159,000 faces. So if I go into edit mode, you'll see it's pretty dense. Pretty dense. So obviously if you scan something like this, you can't really use this in a project. Well, you can if it's if this is the only model that you're going to use. But if you want to scan some things for let's say for a game, or even just doing a little short film or a render, then it's always best to get this down to a low poly mesh. And because yeah, as you can see, these are all triangles. It's super ugly. You can't do much with it. Cleaning it up is a nightmare. If you want to rig it, if it's a character, that's going to be a complete nightmare as well. So you want to try and get the face count down to something workable, maybe like 1,000 or 2,000 or 4,000 even. That's fine. But 160,000 is a bit much just for a rock. So what we can also do is we can delete all this geometry, this extra geometry here at the bottom. So I just kind of used a placemat to place this rock on, and then the scan worked pretty well. So yeah, so let's do that quickly. I'm gonna just look from this, or from the top down, and then we can probably, let me just increase this radius, probably just paint around like so. Let me just enable X-ray mode, so we can kind of just select everything around it like so. And then we can just delete all these extra vertices or faces that we don't need. So it's not perfect, but let's just do something like that. So let me just check this from the side. Yeah, so we can delete all those vertices. Now we have something like this, and we can probably go in here and we can probably delete some more around the base of this rock. So I'm just holding in shift and kind of just painting these vertices here on the side, because yeah, we don't need them. Maybe something like this, and let me just paint these around. Okay, make sure that you don't paint any, or paint over any vertices that's on the side of the rock. Let me just go in here, and yeah, we can probably delete all of these like so, and maybe let's delete all of these as well. Okay, maybe something like that, and then X and delete. Alright, so that's looking pretty cool. So we can just look at this from the side quickly. And what I'm going to do here at the bottom, I'm going to make sure that X-ray is on. And then I'm just going to kind of paint over this area. Maybe I should use the box select. So let's try that. So maybe something like that. Delete. Yeah. So we can always clean it up further once we have a lower mesh. Then it's going to be easier to probably clean this bottom section, because currently you've got all these jagged edges and small little faces. So let's not worry about that too much. So as you can see, the textures are looking pretty nice. Not too bad. Let me just center that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to export this as a new OBJ. And then we're going to take that into instant meshes and try and get the face count down. So let me just save this. And I'm going to, with this rock selected, I'm going to go to File and then Export OBJ. And then on the next page, let me just switch to screen capture here. On this page, just make sure that you have selection only. So it's only exporting the one object that you have selected. And I'm just going to save that into the same folder, but I'm going to call this one rock and then high poly. Okay, so we just export that and we have our new high poly mesh. Alright, so now I'm going to open up instant meshes, and let me just make this full screen. And let me just make sure that that is coming through on the, yeah, that's sharing. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to go to Open Mesh. And yeah, this is kind of the second time or the third time I'm using the software, so I'm very, very new with it. But it seems like it's pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to go to my folder. So we're going to go to Livestream projects, and then I'm just going to grab that high poly OBJ that I just exported from Blender. Alright, so if you click open, you'll see that you have your rock, and it's looking exactly the same as the one that we exported, which is perfect. And now you're on the side, you can actually set your your target vertex count. So this is the amount of vertices that it's going to try and create. So 2.7k, that seems fine. We can probably bring this down to, I wonder if we can type in a number here. No, you can't. So maybe like just over 2.2. Let's see if that's going to work. So once you've set that, you literally just click on solve. And it's going to show you all these lines. And these are the lines that the quads are going to try and follow. So that's looking all right for now. Don't see any major issues. So obviously, if you have a model, we're going to import some different models. We're going to go through 3 models today. So what you can do is you can, if these lines are not kind of aligning to the flow of your object, you can come in here and you can click on this comb, and then you can actually draw lines manually, and it's going to try and follow those lines. So now we can just click on solve. I think we actually did that one as well already. So we click the bottom one, the bottom solve, and there you go. You can see that's what it's going to do. And as you can see, it's looking a lot better than the original mesh. So we're actually going to get some quads, or mostly quads. And you can now go in here and you can go back to this comb, and you can start drawing in lines to kind of change the flow. And then you just solve it again and just click solve again. And yeah, it kind of... Ooh, let me just erase that one. Solve. Then once you've done, just remember to untick the comb tool again, so you can kind of rotate again and look at your object. So for this, I think I am pretty happy. So now we're going to go export mesh, and I'm going to go extract mesh. It's going to show you what the mesh is going to look like. That's perfect. And then you go to save. And that's basically it. So I'm going to save this one as low poly rock. So let's just change this to low poly and then save. Okay, so now we can jump back into Blender. And I'm just going to save this project first. And then I'm going to open up the low poly. So let's just rename this one in the outliner to high poly. Let's just call this rock _ high poly. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the low poly. So just go to file, and we're going to go to import obj, and we're going to load our rock low poly object and import that. And what you're going to see, it's going to bring in the low poly mesh. It's going to bring it in on top of the high poly mesh, which is perfect. And let me just close that down. Okie dokie. All right, so as you can see here, the low poly mesh is actually kind of inside or on top of the high poly mesh. And if I hide the high poly, you can see that's our low poly mesh. And if I go into edit mode, you'll see, let me just switch off X-ray view. You can see that's looking a lot better than our original mesh. So one thing I want to do is, if you see these light green lines, these are actually edges that are marked as sharp. So I'm going to select all of them, right click, and just clear sharp. And that's just going to clear all those sharp edges, which is fine. So let's have a look at the poly count quickly. So if we go back to our low poly, and if I select this, you can see we only have 2,222 faces on this rock now, where the original one had like a lot more. Let's just see here. So the original one has got 88,000. The new one's got 2,200. So much better. So now we need to try and figure out how we can actually get our rock texture on top of or from this high poly mesh onto the low poly mesh. So it kind of looks the same, but it's using a lot less polys. So let us have a look here. So I'm just going to save this, and we've got our naming is correct, our rock low poly, and yeah. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to unwrap our low poly, because it doesn't actually bring over the UVs from when you do the exporting in instant meshes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into UV editing, and first of all, what you want to do is you want to create a new texture for this new low poly rock. So in your UV editor, I'm going to go to new at the top, and let's just call this low poly texture or text, like that. And I'm going to make the resolution 2K, so 2048 by 2048, and then click OK. And now what you want to do is you want to save this, because it doesn't actually save your new texture automatically. So you have to go to image and save as, and I'm just going to save it inside that folder, and I'm going to call it low poly texture, maybe just rock underscore low poly texture. All right, so can leave that as default, save as, and there we go. So now we've got a texture that's saved for this new unwrap that we're going to do. So very simply, I'm going to select one of the faces and press A to select all of them, and then press U to unwrap, and then we're going to go to Smart UV Unwrap, and I'm just going to increase the island margin slightly, and that's our unwrap. Pretty cool. So I think that's fine. Let's have a look. So I'm going to save this quickly, and then we go back to our layout, and let's bring in our high poly rock again, and there you can see that's our high poly rock. And then what we want to do is we want to set up the texture baking quickly for this. So in order to do that, you will have to first change your renderer from Eevee to cycles. I'm not sure why or how this works, but you have to set your renderer to cycles to do baking. And then we're going to scroll down to bake, and then you'll see you'll have all your baking options here. So you can bake all these different types of passes basically. So we're just going to worry about the diffuse. We are only worrying about the color, so just diffuse. And then your influence, we're only worrying about the color, so we don't care about the direct and indirect lighting, so you can just untick those. And then we're going to do selected to active. So this means we are going to bake from the selected mesh, which will be the high poly mesh, and then we're going to bake it onto the active, which will be the low poly mesh. So selected to active. And then this is a little bit weird, but I'm still trying to kind of figure this out, but I found a solution that works pretty well. So you can set your extrusion. So as you can, if you look at this, you can actually see the low poly mesh sticking through the high poly mesh. If I hide the low poly, you'll see there it's kind of sticking through it. So if I scale the low poly mesh slightly, it will actually go inside the high poly mesh, but we don't want to scale it. So as you can see, it's sticking out of the high poly mesh. So that's a bit of a problem. So what we'll have to do, or what we'll need to tell Blender, is we need to extrude the original high poly mesh, so it's actually outside or bigger than the low poly mesh, and then it's going to project inwards, if that makes any sense. So what I found works pretty well is if you set your extrusion to something like 0.2. So 0.2, and that should work, but we'll find out shortly. So before we do any baking here, we kind of just set it up for now. So now we can go and we can select our high poly mesh, go into shading, and let's just have a quick look at this. So you'll have your normal original texture that we scanned, and what you need to do here, you literally just need to select this image texture. Just make sure that that image texture is highlighted just like that, and that will tell the baking what texture to use when it's going to do the baking. All right, so we've got that one selected, and then we're going to go to our low poly, and we are going to go back into shading. And for the low poly, we have not created or we haven't linked the material yet. So, hey Siniska, how you doing? Hope all is going well on your side. Yeah, so I'm just busy doing some interesting 3D scans, and it's it's pretty cool. And we're gonna go through a few meshes. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So for now, what you need to do is we're gonna add a new image texture right here. So this is on a low poly, and I'm connecting that to the base color. And then we just need to select this image texture, just like that. And then we obviously need to just change this to our low poly texture that we created. And I think that's it. So let's have a look. So, hey Skittles546, hope you're doing well. Oh, so you only have to select it on the low poly. Okay, cool. I'm still, this is actually the first time I'm doing this. I did some testing earlier today. But yeah, I'm still learning. Thanks for that. So you only have to select it on the low poly. You're following me. I swear that I see you at some other streams. Cool. All right. Okay, so let's give it a try and see what happens. So I'm gonna save, and I've set my extrusion distance to 0.2. I found that kind of works pretty well. So let's have a look and see what happens. So next you want to select your high poly rock first, and then shift click on your low poly, and then under your render settings you literally just going to click bake. Let's just save this once more and then bake. Cool. And now we are baking. So if you look here at the bottom, you'll see the progress bar. So 8%, 12%, 16%. See, look at the bottom, the error. Oh yeah, I saw an error popping up. Is that because I selected both of them? It's probably because I had the high poly mesh image texture also selected. I'm not sure. Let's see what it does. If it gives me a problem, I'll go back and I'll just unselect that. It's because you have the image node connected to something on low poly. Yeah, let's have a look. So, okay, it's done. And let's hide our high poly. Cool, yeah, so that's the low poly. So it kind of worked. So there you can see we only have 2,200 faces, and it's looking pretty cool. It should be completely disconnected. So are you saying, sorry, I'm very, very new to this. So this obviously worked, but if you're saying this should rather be disconnected, you're saying this one should be disconnected completely, and then I should do the baking. Will it then automatically create a new image texture? Yeah, on low poly. So yeah, this is the low poly one. Should I try that quick? So can I delete this one completely? Make sure it's selected. Yeah, so low poly is definitely selected. Keep it floating. Okay, so just like that. Just select it to make the bake, it bake target. Okay, and then on the high poly, what should I do there? So if I select the high poly, so this is what I currently have on the high poly. So I've got the original texture, and that's connected, obviously. Sorry, asking a lot of questions. Okay, so high poly is fine. Low poly should not be connected, right? High poly is set up as normal material, yeah. Okay. Alright, let's give it a try again. So I'm going to select the high poly first, shift click on the low poly, and then I leave all these settings as default, hey? Yeah, okay, so let's try and bake this again and see what happens. Okay, yeah. So no error this time. And then do I just have to manually reconnect that image texture after the bake? Because I think even though it gives you the error, it still kind of works. I'm not sure if it's going to give me a different result doing it this way. Yeah, you want to save the bake once you're happy with it. Okay. Well, let's have a look. Yeah, it's more when you start baking over it. Okay, cool. All right, so that is done. And now we can hide our high poly. And now with a low poly selected, I can go back into shading and just connect it. Okay, there you go. So as we can see, it's looking pretty nice. Looks more like a potato than a rock. But yeah, pretty cool. So we only have 2,200 faces. Okay, should we try something a little bit more complex? So I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to take both of these models, and I'm just going to drop them into their own collection. Let's create a new collection. Let's just call this backup. And there they go. And we can switch off the backup collection. We don't need them. All right, so let's bring in our next one. So for the next model, import. Ooh, that's not going to work. Cancel. All right, so for the next one, let's bring in the camel. Okay, so first I'm just going to kind of make this level. So center it like that. Just rotate it slightly. Like so. Cool, so this is the model that we're going to work with. So as you can see, the face count is pretty high. Again, 160,000 faces, which is quite high. And first we just need to set the origin. So set origin to geometry. And if I go into edit mode, you can see this is pretty dense. And yeah, we need to sort that out. So I think for this one, let's leave the bottom area, then we can clean that up when we do our is this stuff your 3D scan? Yeah, this is the 3D scan. So this is straight using my iPhone. I don't have a LiDAR scanner, so it's literally just using the camera with that app. This, what's it called? Trinio. TRNIO. This is kind of the best app that I found. This is obviously not sponsored or anything, but I did test quite a few different apps, and some of them you have to pay like a monthly fee, or some of them you have to pay for each scan that you do. This one is a once-off. You buy the app for like $5 or something, and then you get unlimited scans, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so obviously need to delete some loose vertices here. So I'm sure I can probably just go to clean up, remove. Okay, no, we'll have to go into edit mode, select everything, mesh, clean up, delete loose, and that did not work. Something to note when setting origin to geometry: if you want it properly centered, when you set origin, bottom left there is a toolbox you can expand and set the bounds mode instead of median. Okay, so if I right click, set origin to geometry, and I open this and I set the center to bounds. Okay, nice. Thanks for the tip, Skittles. Skittles546. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot more centered. Cool, thanks for that tip. Alright, so yeah, because median actually takes the average of all vertices median. Yeah, okay, it makes sense, yeah. So now it's kind of taking the bounding box and then it places it inside the box, which is probably better, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here quickly and what I'm going to do is face mode and then just press L to select linked. And then I can probably just do a select invert and then delete vertices. All these loose hanging little pieces are now gone. Okay, so that is our model, and I'm just going to re-export this because we kind of fixed it up a bit. So file, export, obj, and let's just save this into our camel folder, and I'm going to call this camel iPoly. And just make sure that you have selection only. You don't want to export all the others as well. Yeah, center on bounding box. Yeah, that sounds better. All right, so let's export this as our iPoly. Export. And we wait. Okay, cool. So that's done. Now we can jump over to instant meshes. Let me just cancel that. Why is this asking me to save? I don't want to save this. Okay, cool. So we're going to open mesh and we're going to go to our camel folder and we're going to load the iPoly and see what happens. Okay, so this is our iPoly mesh. And we're going to go again for about maybe let's leave this one on about like 5,000. So I think we need a little bit more detail for this model. Maybe even 4,000. So if we bring this down to like just over 4,000. All right, so I'm going to go solve. And it's going to draw those little flow lines or quad lines or whatever you call them. And yeah, let's see what happens. So I'm just going to click on solve. And that's what we get. So it's not too bad. You can obviously see some problems here at the bottom. So you can now go in and select this comb and you can just kind of draw in some lines here. And then we're going to go solve again and solve again. And just remember to untick that again. Yeah, it's looking pretty cool. It's obviously not perfect, but I think for my idea that I want to use this for, it should be perfect. It's not going to be rigged or anything. It's literally just going to be a little thing standing somewhere. So yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So let's export this. So export mesh, extract, and then we're gonna just look at this again. Yeah, it's looking nice. And then we're gonna save this as our low poly. So let's just call this one low poly, like so. Okay, now we can go back to Blender and we're going to import our low poly. So import obj, and we are going to select camel low poly and import. Cool. So we can obviously see that our low poly is sticking through, which is fine because they're kind of the same size. And first of all, we need to create our, let me just rename this so that we keep everything nice and tidy. So this is our iPoly, like so. iPoly, yeah. Okay, let's save this and we're going to select our low poly first, and we're going to go into UV editing, and yeah, I should have created a new project because this is now showing me the old one for the rock. So first I just want to select all these edges and just go clear sharp because I don't think we need them. And then we're going to select all of these faces on our low poly, and I'm going to go unwrap. So let's first create our new texture. So I'm just going to create a new texture. So this is camel low poly 2048. That's fine. And then okay. And we need to save this image somewhere. So I'm just going to save this in our camel folder. Camel low poly. Save. And now we can unwrap this. So smart UV project. I'm just going to increase the margin to 0.010. And there we go. So that's looking all right. go back to layout, and now we need to go back into our baking settings. Make sure this is all set to the same stuff. So diffuse, color, selective to active, and I'm going to use extrusion of 0.2. Right. So next, I just want to go into my high poly again, go into shading, and then make sure we select this one again, like so. And then we're going to select our low poly. And for this one, we are just going to create that image texture, but we're not going to connect it. Thanks for that tip, Skittles 546. And then I'm going to open that texture that we just created. So that's the camel low poly texture, and I'm not going to connect it. So I've got it selected. And now, let me just do a save one more time. Now we can select our high poly mesh, and then shift click on the low poly, and then click bake. So high poly, you don't need to select the image node, by the way. Oh, okay. Okay, so if it's there, it's there. So you only have to select the low poly image texture node. Okay, so only the target basically. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks for that tip. All right. Okay, so now we can hide our high poly, and now we can go into our shading on the low poly and just connect it. And let's have a look. So this is our low poly mesh, and yeah, it's working. So let me just change this color management to standard from filmic, just to get a little bit more contrast, or maybe we can even increase this to high contrast. Gonna see it a bit better. You're gonna make normals. To be honest, I have not tried baking normals yet. That's something that I still need to figure out, because then you can obviously use a very low mesh, and that will then introduce the actual the small details. It's pretty much exactly the same as you're doing already. So I think the only thing I'll have to change is probably this. I will have to change the diffuse to normal. Just make a new separate texture in low poly. Okay, so let's try that quickly. So I'm gonna go into the shading, select it, then you can change the normal bake mode. So okay, so I just create a new texture. So if we go to just create a new node and keep it separate. Okay, so I'm going to create a new image texture like that, and then do I need to just create a new one right here? Okay, cool. So new, and I'm going to call this camel normal map. Should I use alpha as well? I assume it doesn't really matter. Alpha disable. Okay, cool. All right, so don't need it. Okay, cool. So we've got that, and I'm obviously not going to connect it yet, so I'm just going to select it, have it highlighted, and then under our baking settings, we are going to change the diffuse to normal. Correct. I have no idea what I'm going to do here, but let's see. Image textures, one thing. Yeah. you can move your cam so I can see a setting. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can do that. So let's just jump over to that side. So we've got all these little settings here that I'm not sure what to change here. So we've got the space, which is tangent. Yeah, so this is the first time that I'm doing normal map baking. Do you have a GPU? Not on this computer, unfortunately. This is on just a Mac Mini. I've got an external GPU, but you can't use it, so it's a bit of a. It kind of works in the viewport, but it doesn't work when I do renders. So yeah, unfortunately not. Performance, right. Set the size, the tile size, to your image size. So do I literally just type it in here, 2048? Like that. Okay, then we set the samples to 2. Our render, I suppose, render samples to 2. Okie dokie. Yeah, okay. All right, so are we ready to bake? So I need to select this one, right? Yeah. And then we're going to go to our baking settings again, make sure everything's cool. That part you don't need more just to make it faster. Okay, so it's just a performance thing. That's cool. All right, let's give it a try. So we're going to do the same again. We're going to select our high poly first, and then we're going to shift click on our low poly. And we've got that target selected, and then we're going to bake. So normal selected. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's see what happens. So it's busy baking. Cool, so we've got something. So that is our normal map. Got some interesting colors in here. Not sure if that's going to be an issue. Okay, so you're saying to wait. You have some distance issues. Yeah, I see. So these are the distance issues, right? So should we increase this extrusion maybe? Because currently it's set to 0.2. So with your selected to active distance, I'm not sure where that is. So we've got a ray max or max ray distance and also extrusion distance. Extrusion, okay. Let's try 0.4. And then bake again. So so it changed a little. How big is the model? It's not very big, so let's just select the high poly. You mean the actual dimensions? So this is 2.5 meters by 2.4. So yeah, it's about 2.5 meters by 2.5 meters. So it's pretty big, yeah. So I'll probably have to increase this like a little bit more. Should we try 1 meter? Set extrusion to, so smaller. Okay. I think it was on 0.2 originally. It was actually on 0.2, yeah. The first try was 0.2 and then I increased it to 0.4. So maybe 0.1. Because 0.2 didn't work. I'm gonna try 0.1. Yeah, I think it fixed it. So I'm not sure. Yeah, there's some small issues, I think, but overall it looks good. You think this is a good one? Smaller. Okay. Let's go 0.05. And then bake again. Yeah, I don't know if it actually changed. We can go smaller. We can go 0.01. Bake. Yeah, I didn't really change it. Okay, I'm just going to go with this. I think it looks fine. So now we're just going to save this one. Yeah, it's pretty decent. Yeah, it's not too bad, eh? So now we're gonna go and connect this to I need to save this first, eh? Oh yeah, I need to add a normal map, not that one. Normal map. Okay, cool. And we're gonna take the color into color, correct? And then normal into normal. All right. So cool. How do I save this image texture now? Cool. So let's go back to layout and just hide our high poly. And let's have a look. So there's some issues here, but I'm not sure what's causing that. I don't know if you can see what it's doing. It's probably something to do with the normal map. Shading. Cool, but thanks for explaining that to me. I'm not sure if I need to adjust something here. Maybe the strength was too much. Yeah, so it's probably just the strength. Set the UV map in normal map node. Set the UV map in normal map mode. Oh, sorry, this one. UV map. No. Click it, yeah. This one. That empty block. Normal map node. Oh, sorry, this one. And then I need to change this one. Oh, there we go. UV map. Okie dokie. Got it. It's still doing something weird here. You see there? It's causing some strange issues. I'm not sure what that is. Should I change this not to... No, I can't change that. Oh, using auto smooth. I'm not sure. Let me just set this to flat. Smooth. I don't think so. Let's have a look here. So this is under... Yeah, it's on. So switch that off. Yeah, it doesn't really make a difference to those areas. You see there. Shade flat. Auto smooth. Check normals. So if we look at our face orientation, that's looking good. One small little issue there, but everything on the outside is looking fine, I think. Yeah. Not sure if it's a lighting issue or maybe... No, it can't be a lighting issue. If I take the specular down... it's maybe something to do with the specular. Yeah, there it's all fine now. So if I bring up the specular, you can see it's doing something weird. And if I bring down the specular, it's not perfect. You can see some issues here. Maybe a roughness. No. So it kind of fixed most of it. Let me just set this to smooth again. Some interesting issues here and there. Edit, select all, and merge by distance. Okay, so if we go into edit mode and then select everything, mesh, clean up, merge by distance. Removed 0 vertices, 0.00001. Maybe let's add another 0. Nah. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure why it's doing this. Is it not because it's got the UV map? Let me just double check. This thing has got one UV map. Yeah, it's got one UV map. I think it could be your UVs. Yeah, it might be. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that too much. I kind of know how to do it now, so yeah, thanks a lot for explaining that to me. I'm definitely gonna practice it a bit and see how it works. But yeah, I think we're gonna jump to a new model. So this one came out quite nice. I just need to figure out the normal map to get that perfect. But we can give it a try on the new model as well and see how that goes. So I'm just gonna select both of these and I'm gonna move them to the backup collection. All right, so let's do another one. Okay, so
Master, we have a visitor.
welcome to all the new visitors. Hope your Sunday is going well. So we're just playing around with some 3D scans and yeah, so the last one that I've got here that I scanned today is a little water feature type of thing. Like not a water feature, it's more like a drinking fountain. Let me just see where it is now. Did I merge it now all into one? No, I didn't. Let's just try import that again. File, import, obj. And let's go to our water feature, obj, and import. Okay, why is this so... What is this doing? I think it might have... Let's just have a look here. Okay, so something happened with that model. Let me just see if I still have it under my downloads folder. It's one of these. So let me just copy them over again. All right, so let's see which one it is. So this one is... No, that's the camel. So it's not that one. Let's try this one. Model 15 make, that's the rock. That is definitely the rock. Okay, so it's not that one. Let's delete. And then it should be this one. Hopefully the model is fine. Yeah, 33 meg. That looks better. Okay, so I'm going to copy all these, and then I'm going to drop that right in here. So I can probably delete all of these, and let's paste that in there. Okie dokie, we've got our model. Yeah, so I can delete these zip files again. All right, so let's import this one. So import obj, and this is our water feature thing. Import. Let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, so let's have a look from the side, and I'm just gonna rotate it around and kind of just level it out. So this scan came out quite nice, actually, if I must say so myself. So I'm just gonna rotate that around, maybe like that. Yeah, the back of the thing is not great, but if you look at the front, that looks pretty nice. And we've got some little flowers, but yet the back I kind of missed a little section here because it was really, really difficult to get into between these. Yeah, it looks nice. You must really give this app a try. It's really, really cool. I don't know if they have a free version that you can try out. This thing, it's called Trinio. But yeah, it works really well. I was actually quite surprised. And it's got two modes that you can actually use. You can use object mode to scan, which takes kind of pictures around your object, or you can use the AR version, which is just you just move your phone around and it creates these like a point cloud. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So for this one we have a total of 324,000 faces, which is pretty insane. But yeah, there's obviously a lot that we can delete here. I can delete this whole side section, so let me just do that quickly. So I'm going to go into enable x-ray mode, and then I'm just going to box select around this thing and just kind of delete everything that I don't want. So we're going to delete all of those and all of those, and here I'm just going to kind of delete some of these that we don't need. And we can probably go in and delete some of that as well. Hans the Unicorn. Welcome, man. How you doing? I think I know who that is. That can only be one Hans. Hans the Unicorn. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you are doing well. I'm sure it's the Hans that I'm thinking about. Only one unicorn hunts that I know of, so must be. All right. Anyways, it's you. Welcome, man. How are you doing? Hope you are having a nice chilled Sunday. As you can see, it's all chilled vibes on this side. Playing around with some Blender. Well, loving this. Thanks, man. Welcome. Do you are you on Twitch quite often? Do you watch some interesting streams? Bound center. Cool. So now we've got our little pivot in the center, and there's still a few things that I need to fix here. What is that? Is that a vertex? Sitting there. Oh, there's lots of vertices. Yes, loving this. Cool. And yes, it's you. Awesome. So, okay. So as you can see, we've got some vertices flying around here in all different... you are a Twitch virgin. Welcome to the Twitch world, man. Yeah, there's some really, really interesting streams going on. So you must go check them out. Some really cool stuff. There's something for everyone. Like, if you're into unicorns, I'm sure you will find a unicorn stream that you will enjoy. But yeah, definitely go check it out. Check out like the music categories. Some really, really great stuff there. So yeah. But yeah, welcome, man. Enjoy your stay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to point to this thing and press L, and that's going to select all the linked faces. And now I'm going to invert my selection. So just select invert, and that's going to select all the little loose parts. So you can now move them around, or you can just delete them. So X and vertices delete. Alrighty then. So cool, man. Yeah, no problem. So we've got our base model. We've got some pretty interesting crap going on here. So I'll probably have to remove that from the model as well. Once if I had a unicorn, I would have 3D scanned it for today's stream, but I don't have one, unfortunately. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I think I need to delete these leaves as well, because this is not part of the thing. Alright, so I'm gonna go WW, so I've got a lasso tool, but then just make sure, yeah, so we've got X-ray mode on, and I'm literally just gonna kind of cut through. Yeah, it's obviously gonna create some holes in the model, but it is fine. We are not gonna care about that too much. Same here, so I'm gonna just draw a little lasso around this area, and then we delete it. So we've got some holes there, but it's fine. We don't care. We don't care. You rock, brother. Same, man. Same. Okay, so I think we are okay for now. So let me just save this again. And if we look at our face count, we have 52,000. Algorithm had no idea what to do with those leaves. Yeah, it was like a little bit of a messy area. Not messy area, but it's very busy and there's lots of like leaves and things going. But yeah, it freaked out a little bit. Didn't know what to do there. So I can obviously fix the side of the texture, but yeah, I'm not going to worry about that too much. And you can actually see the reflection of the trees in the water as well. So it had a little bit of water in, and you can see that the reflection of the trees above it. Pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to bring this down to probably about 3,000 faces. So currently it's on 52,000. So I'm going to select this model, and we're going to export that. So file, export, OBJ. And then we're going to call this water feature underscore. So this is our high poly model, and selection only. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to jump into instant meshes, and I don't want to save that. I want to open a new mesh, and we are going to load our water feature high poly. Okay, so here we go. So this is our high poly model. Whoops. And we can rotate around it, and we can look at all the prettiness of it. And yeah, so now we're going to bring it down. So currently it's set to 1.6, so we can probably increase this to about 3,000. The input has insufficient resolution to generate a mesh with a selected vertex count. It can be subdivided to a finer resolution, but any current edits will be lost. Proceed? No. Alright, I'm going to leave it on the default, which is 1.65. And I'm going to click on solve. So you can see it's drawing those lines again for us. That's going to help us with the quad flow, or whatever you call that. And then we're going to click on solve. And yeah, off the bat, it's looking pretty nice. Pretty nice. Okay, let's go with this. Just like this. So export mesh, extract, and it's going to give us a visualization. And obviously there's a lot of things you can clean up here. You can close all of these little gaps, etc. But yeah, for now it's fine. And then we can just go save. And let's just go into our water feature folder. And I'm going to save this one as low poly. Low poly, and save. Cool. So now we can jump back into Blender and let's just save this one more time. You can never save enough. And then we're going to go File and we're going to go Import and we're going to go OBJ and we're going to select our low poly and import that. Cool. So now you can see it's sitting on top of our high poly. And first of all, we just need to what's going on here now? Got two models. So this one is the high poly. Yeah. This one, I'm not sure. So I'm going to delete that. And let's just call this one high poly. Alrighty then. So we're going to select our low poly. And we're going to go into UV editing. And first, I just want to get rid of these sharp edges. So I'm going to select all of them, clear sharp. And then we have something like that. Okay, so first of all, we're going to create a new material. So let me just... Why can't I create a new material? New image. Here we go. So this is water feature material. Let's just call it _new. That's fine. And we can probably enable alpha again and then okay. Alright, so now we just need to unwrap this low poly model. So select all the faces, Smart UV project, and just increase your margin slightly. And there you have your UVs unwrapped. Good to go. Okay, so now we need to, let me just select our low poly again and go into shading. So we need to select our image texture. And we're not going to connect it. We're just going to bring in or just select our texture that we created, which is, which one is it now? Water feature new. There we go. And then you just want to make sure that this node is selected. And we're going to go to our render settings, go to baking. And this time we're just going to bake the diffuse again. Like so. And we are only baking the color. So nothing to do with the direct and indirect lighting. That's all good. And then the extrusion, I'm going to set on 0.2 again. Alrighty then. I think this is good. This is all new to me. I'm kind of just practicing this. See how it works. Okay, I think everything is set up correctly. We have our target that we're going to bake to. And yeah, now I think we probably just have to set this back to 128 because I did some normal map baking earlier with a lower resolution or lower samples. And now we can probably just do a bake. You don't need to. Oh, so I don't have to change that samples at all. Won't that affect the color? If you're only baking color, you can do 1 or 2 samples. Oh, really? Okay, cool. That is very good to know. I think the baking is actually done. Let's have a look. No. Oh, I didn't select. You only need lots of samples when you're baking something that's like rendered with light and stuff. Okay, so only if you... Okay. Alright. So I can set this back to like 2 again, which will make it easier or quicker. So let's just go back in here. Let me just see what I did. So I think I selected it the wrong way around maybe. So high poly first and then shift click low poly. And then we're going to bake. Hopefully I didn't do it the wrong way around because that's going to then bake onto the high poly. I think it works. Alright, so now we can just hide our low poly or hide our high poly, sorry. Go back. And there we go. Not too bad. And if we look at our faces or our topology, it's not looking too bad. And yeah, so now we only have 1,600 faces. And this is almost usable. Like if you clean this up and you close all the holes and you just fix this texture side on this side and you fix some of these holes, it's definitely usable as a prop. Let me just change this back to Eevee. Yeah, so let's add a nice HDRI quickly. So environment, and let's grab a nice little HDRI here. A little exterior, maybe this one. Yes, so maybe let's bring this down to like 0.5, 0.3, and we can also hide our HDRI, and then we can add a plane. Kind of just bring that up. Cool. Let's just set this to low specular, and now we can add a light. Yeah, so that's looking pretty cool. I wonder if we can fix this material issue quickly.
Master, Master, we have a visitor.
Welcome to the new visitors. Hope everyone's doing well today. If anyone wants a coupon to my Udemy course, I've got a 6-hour Udemy course on Blender, kind of just going over all the basics from modeling to texturing to yeah, just everything in between, a bit of physics, simulations. So if anyone's interested, just let me know in the chat and I'll send you a free Udemy coupon. So what we can do, probably the best way to fix this is obviously if you go into Photoshop and you kind of just fix it with that, because this doesn't look very nice. Should we try and fix this in Photoshop quick? Maybe we should. Let me just open Photoshop here. I'm not great at Photoshop, but I can try. Not as good as Mr. Hans the Unicorn. Photoshop boffin. Okay, so let's see here. You can do similar Blender. Yeah, I know. I just haven't used the image editor or anything like that before. I'm sure you can do, yeah, like clone, pretty much clone stamp. Do you want to explain to me quickly how to do it, or is it quite a workflow? Because literally what I want to do is I want to like clone from, say, from this area just to here, or maybe from here to here. You kid. Yes, Hans. It's not too hard. You have to create a custom brush. Okay, I don't think I'm going to do it right now. I'm just going to do it in Photoshop quick. But it's definitely something that I want to learn how to do inside of Blender as well. So let's quickly see if we go into Photoshop. And we're just going to open. We'll just add a brush. It's probably not super fast. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll definitely will try to do that. Okay, so we're just gonna load our texture, the new texture, which is why can I not see it? Model. Did I even save it? So oh, we didn't save it. Save as. So this is under camel, so we need to go into the water feature underscore new save image. Okay, now I've got it saved, so we can jump back into Photoshop, and that's our little texture. Okay, so we are in Photoshop. So let's just see if we can fix this. Now I'm not great at Photoshop, but let's give it a try. So we can probably take some of this and then kind of just paint over this area and try and fix it. Now I'm not sure. I can probably go over the edges a little bit because the UV saw set up to only use the stuff inside the area, if that makes any sense. So I'm just gonna paint it like this, and maybe I don't know what that is doing, but that's fine. Okay, and then maybe let's fix this area. So maybe for this I'll use some of this darker kind of grayish area, maybe like that. Let's just start again and paint over that. Painting, and let's just do some very rough texture painting here, like so. Yeah, and maybe let's do that as well, and maybe something here. Maybe this edge is also a little bit stretched, so let's just. This is very rough, as you can see. Where was that part that I couldn't fix? Here we go. So let me just do these edges as well. Maybe something there. Okay, this is a bit of a mess. I'm not sure what part of the mesh mess. I need to focus on my words here. Alright, so that's cool. What is this? This is not looking good, so I'm gonna try and do something here as well. Clone stamp. So maybe let's take some of these browns and kind of just fill them in right here, and just painting, like so. And maybe this little glitchy area as well. Maybe just do all of this. Okay, so maybe here as well. Not sure what that is. So as you can see, I'm just kind of closing anything that looks weird. Maybe this edge. Just kind of some weird stretching going on there. And just like so. Cool. Let's zoom out here. Let's see anything else. Oh yeah, here is some crazy stuff happening. So let's see if we can fix all of these. Whoops. This little edge. It's got some stretching going on as well. Like so. And now I just need to fix this. All these green patches I kind of need to sort out. Clone stamp tool is very relaxing to use. Okay, so now from this side I'll probably use some of this brown. It's a little stretched, but that's alright. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Regret, I have to sign off. A really interesting work tutorial. I hope to follow your work and check some of the other recommendations in the future. Thanks for a magical session. Awesome, Hans. Stay cool, stay in school. And yeah, keep on doing the unicorn things. We love it. We all love it. Have a good day, man. Alright, so I'm just painting. Like so. Okay. Let's just zoom out and see if there's any major things we need to fix. I think that looks alright. Cheers, man. Okay, I think that's fine. What I'm gonna do is maybe just kind of this area here, just paint over it because there's some very harsh lines here. that I just want to get out. Whoops. That's not going to work. Alright, so I'm just going to painting these edges because I think something was a bit wonky in this area. So, okay, that's fine. Let's save this. So, I'm going to save this. I could probably just save over it, but I'm going to save it as an extra, as like a copy. So I'm just going to call this new 2 and PNG, that's fine. And large file, that's fine. Let me just jump in here quickly and then we can see these are the 2 textures. So this is the one I fixed. This is the old one. So let's have a look. So we jump back into Blender. And now, let me just get out of here. What am I doing? It's weird jumping between software to kind of, when you using the shortcuts, it kind of freaks out your brain. Alright, so now we just need to load in the new textures. So under shading, we can probably just go in here and open up our new 2. And that's connected. And let's have a look. So yeah, we have some interesting issues there, but it kinda works for our purpose. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for today. I just kind of wanted to practice and see how this instant meshes works. So if you're doing any 3D scans, you can use it obviously to retopologize and just don't look. Yeah, exactly. Just don't look at the one side. Simple as that. Just place it in the corner somewhere so that no one can go onto the other side. Render from the good side. That's the main rule when it comes to 3D. Hide your imperfections. But yeah, Skittles546, thank you so much for all the tips that you gave me today. Really appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna practice some of those things like the normals and making the normals. And yeah, I still need to learn the whole clone stamp tool inside of Blender. But awesome. Thanks a lot for the follow, Skittles. Appreciate it. So yeah, thanks a lot for all the tips, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll probably do a stream either in the week again or next weekend. Then I'll probably model something else again. So if you guys want to join the Discord server, check in the About section. There's a link there. We're trying to build a small little community. Very small. Currently, I think we have like 15 people in there. But yeah, slowly building it into a little Blender community. Awesome, people. Keep well. Have a nice Sunday further and a nice weekend. And I will see you guys on the next stream. Cheers. Goodbye.